Hello and welcome to What You Know Wednesday. Who's ready for their lives to be changed? And I'm not just saying it. If you have your cell phone, Shanice, I know you're driving. We'll go back over it when you get home. Don't worry. I want you to go to your Play Store where you go to get apps. Let me know when you're there. I want you to go to ICD-10 lookup in your Play Store. And I want you to look for, hang on, let me get back where I was. What did I push? It is a red book with a little cross on it. And it says ICD-10. It does say 2021, but that's what it looks like. I can't get it to show. Let me see if I can get, let me go to my Play Store. Yes, it's ICD-10 consult is what it says. Let's see. Yes. And I want you to install it. Then I want you to open it. Remember, I keep telling y'all there is more than one way to code. Well, I got to thinking this one. I was like, you know, we don't really use manuals all that much when we're in the office. We're going to use the internet, right? Well, I'm going to give you guys some help in coding. We're going to have, Shanice, are you really doing that app while you're on the road?
Yeah, because I had just downloaded it.
Okay. So
I was about to stop crying.
All right. So while that's installing, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, those of you who are watching this at a later time, go ahead and stop, pause, and install, because we're going to be using this today. All right, so we're going to be talking about Z codes today. All right, if you don't want to go to another window on your computer screen, you don't have to, but I want you to write down ICD-10data.com. Let me move this down here. Why won't it let me escape? ICD-10data.com looks like this. I'm putting in mammogram string. If I could spell mammogram, right? Oh, that's not right. Mammogram screening, enter. Looks what it does. It's, of course, this is what drives me crazy about it is there's ads and it's a free site. So there's going to be ads. But for example, let's see, encounter for screening unspecified, and see right here, the little converter. And then if you click on it, it gives you more description. And this is exactly what's in your ICD-10. It's just in electronic form. Again, the ads drive me nuts. They pop up everywhere. You can't do anything about it. But anyway, so that's another thing that I want you to have as part of your tools. Let's see, let's go back. All right, can you guys see the slide? All right, the importance of Z codes. Z codes found in chapter 21 of your ICD-10 manual, not your textbook. Factors influencing health status and contact with health services. They go from Z00 through Z99 of the ICD-10 CM codebook may be used in any healthcare setting. The ICD-10 CM guidelines for coding and reporting instruct us to code for all coexisting coexisting comorbidities, especially those part of medical decision-making, it's a good idea to review all 16 categories in Chapter 21 guidelines. So let's just talk about what is all in the Z code. So let's kind of talk about that. Contact exposures. So if you were exposed to smallpox, it's going to be found in the Z codes. Inoculations and vaccinations. Anytime that you have to have a vaccination, it's there. Status, history of breast cancer, history of diabetes, history of cardiac issues, screening, observation, aftercare, donors, counseling, encounters for obstetrical and reproductive services, which can be contraceptives, right? Newborns and infants, routine and administrative examination, miscellaneous Z codes, non-specific Z codes that may only be principal first listed diagnosis. Okay, all that's a bunch of gibberish, right? You're like, okay, what does that mean? Well, it means there's a whole lot of random codes and Z codes. It can be about anything from going in for a regular visit all the way to sexual harassment, sexual molestation. I mean, it's everything. So how do we begin to pinpoint what we're going to look for? And that's what we're going to practice, because that's really the problem, right? You're going, how do we even begin to look for these things? Hi, Holly, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Are you in a spot where you can pull something up on your cell phone?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay, I want you to go to your playlist.
My playlist?
I'm sorry, no, your not your playlist. I'm sorry, your Google search, your little Play Store. Play Store, that's the word I'm looking for. Play Store.
Like my app store?
Yeah, when you actually can upload an app.
Okay, for Google Classroom?
No. I want you to put in ICD-10 Consult.
ICD-10.
And it should be a little red book with ICD-10 and a cross on it.
Okay, I got it.
And I want you to install that on your phone. All right, I want to give you a tip. And I don't know if you guys have any little tabs that you bought or not, but I want to talk about a couple of codes. Go to Z11.52. Z11.52. Found on page 1625. This is where you're going to find COVID-19 screening tests. So because we deal with COVID so often now, it'll be a good idea just to make an indication that that's where you're going to find COVID stuff. And then Z20.822, a patient who has had contact with or suspected exposure to COVID, is Z20.822. That is exposure to COVID. Z1152 is screening for COVID. So if you go to the doctor and they do a screening for COVID, but they do not have a positive test yet, this is the ICD-10 code you're going to use for that office visit. You're actually screening for COVID, Z11.52. If you go to the doctor because you've been exposed, that's when you'll use the other code. I'm going to give y'all a minute to all right, once you do that, I want you to pull up your app on your phone. And in your app, when it pulls up, you're just going to have a little place where you can search. In that search, I want you to push in Z11.52. Tell me what you see when you do Z11.52. Y'all give me one moment, please.
Okay.
Jessica, can I call you back? I'm in class.
Oh, yes.
All right, sorry about that. My poor boss, about the time she thinks she has my schedule straight, I change a day's time. So when you pull up Z11.52, what do you see?
Encounter for screening for COVID-19.
Right. And also beside that code, do you see that green dot? That means that's a good code. It's a green dot. Now, when you use this, I still want you to check it in your tabular, but you don't need to go to your index anymore, right?
Yeah.
And is that where we have our headache? Is in the index?
Pretty much.
You can use this as your index now.
Okay.
All right, so let's do a little bit of practice. But before this, I want you to remember the word encounter. Remember the word encounter when you're thinking of Z codes, when you're looking up Z codes, even if the word encounter is not in your little scenario. Okay? Because when you may encounter smallpox, you may think you've encountered whatever. So just remember the word encounter, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so the very first scenario we have, a person who has been in contact with smallpox. So using our handy dandy little tool, I'm going to do X on that. And I'm going to put, I'm just going to do contact smallpox. That's what I'm going to use. You guys can type in whatever you like. Let me know if something works.
That works for me.
I'm sorry?
That works for me. Contact with smallpox.
I'm sorry, Holly. I can't understand. I don't know what's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. The volume. So is that too loud?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's so loud that I can't understand what you're saying. Can you give me the ICD-10 code that you got when you typed that in?
Yes.
What is it? For some reason, I can't hear you, Holly. Can you put it in the chat, maybe? Oh, there you are. Say it one more time.
Z22.
Did anybody else get Z22? What did you type into your search engine?
Contact with smallpox.
And you got Z22?
I typed in contact with smallpox and got Z20.89.
That's what I have too.
Let me redo it.
Yeah. What did you get,
Oh
Victoria?
yeah, Z2089.
Okay, Z2089. That's what I have too. And it has the green dot beside it, right?
Yeah.
So what do? We're going to go to our tabular and we're going to look up Z20.89. It says contact, and that's on 1,628. just open your manuals to your Z codes. That way we won't have to go back and forth. So it says contact with and suspected exposure to other communicable diseases. Now I need to know, guys, you have the 2023 manual. Is there a blue dot beside that, or is there no dot? There's a blue dot in your 2023. See, I have a blue dot too. And when it says unacceptable principal diagnosis. And so that's what I've been running across this morning, but in our context, it has a green dot. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to code what they ask because we don't have to worry about billing this out, right? We're just going to take it at face value just so we can get to know where these are. And if we have to use a Z code in our office, they're going to do it in your true code, and that's going to give you whether it's a blue dot or a green dot. I'm actually going to just hit that and see when I go into Z2 and I'm reading the stuff, reading the stuff on our search engine, but it doesn't really give me anything. So to me, Z20.89 is going to be the actual code. When I put these codes into a search engine, let's go back to let me see if we can go back to our ICD-10 data. Let's go here and let me see. Z20.89, enter. All right, and I'm going to click on it. Have I mentioned the ads drive me insane? Z20.89 is a billable specified code that will be used to indicate a diagnosis for reimbursement purposes. So this is a good code. We can use this code. I know, I'm sorry, but what I did was I put in the code up here, Z20.89. Oh, and then it brought me to this little green arrow here, and I just clicked on it, and then it gives me more specifics along with all the crazy ads. So diagnosis index entries containing Z20.89 communicable diseases. So that's what it looks like when you actually look it up on the internet site that I showed you. All right, so let's move on. Prophylactic vaccination against smallpox. So you can do that on your ICD-10 data that's on the computer, or you can use your cell phone. Who is having trouble spelling prophylactic? Me, I can't spell it. Okay, when I put in prophylactic, again, spelling error. PROPHYLATIC. Did anybody find anything under prophylactic vaccination?
I did. I found encounter for immunization.
Ah, so you used the word encounter. Did you put prophylactic in exactly in your, what did you put in your search?
Yeah, I put prophylactic vaccination.
So it comes under encounter vaccination too. Okay, so what did everybody find on their search engine? Did you guys come up with, what did you come up with? Stacy, what do you have?
I put in the prophylactic vaccination that popped up. The Z23 encounter for immunization, Z28.311 partially vaccinated, and Z28.9 immunization not carried out for unspecified reason.
Okay, well, it doesn't tell us any of that. All it says is that we have a smallpox vaccination. So it's going to be what? What would you guess out of those three guys? What would you think that we would need to look at?
Z23.
Encounter for immunization.
Right, encounter for immunization. So let's look Z23. Which says encounter for immunization. It does not say smallpox, but it does say procedure codes are required to identify the types of immunizations given. Code first, any routine childhood examination. Here's the problem with the Z code stuff that we're doing, is they don't give us enough information. All that we need to be able to find is exactly where these codes are found. So if we're doing an encounter for an immunization, this is where we're going to go in the Z23 area. And I also used this little fella here. I found this one. It was on the the CPC website, and it says ICD-10 code Z23. It is a billable code for version 2023, encounter for immunization, and it's valid for submission. I don't know if it has updated after we got our manuals, but according to every bit of research, it's a billable code. It looks like the change was made October 22nd. So Z23. All right, tell me, let's stop for a moment. I want to know, how do you, hi, Abigail. Do you have your cell phone handy?
Yes.
Could you go to your Play Store and put in ICD-10 consult? It's going to be a red book with a cross on it. So the rest of you guys, how does this feel versus the index?
A lot easier.
Just be honest with me, because we can do both. It's not either or, it's everything. It's all we can do. If that speaks to Holly and she loves that, then that's great. Miss Stacy, how do you feel about it?
I like it better.
Okay, Victoria?
I like it, but I'll probably still fact check with the book.
Absolutely, always fact check with your
Yeah,
book. I'm
most
not
definitely.
saying use this in lieu of your book. I'm saying use this in conjunction with your book. Shanice, what do you think?
Listening sounds complicated because I'm not at home yet, and I haven't been on Zoom these past couple of days, so I don't even know how to use the book.
Right, but we got to get you home so we can practice on that. How long before you get home?
I'm right down the street.
Okay, good
I'm
deal.
almost got like 2 minutes.
Okay, well, that's why we changed the time today so that we have time. So Abigail, did you get your book, the little red book installed?
Yes, ma'am. It has the cross, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so let me share my screen again and we're going to keep on going. Let me move our little thing, just gets in the way. So this is a personal history of malignant neoplasm of the lip. So let's use our search book. Open it up, Abigail, and what are we going to put in? What do you guys think? I'm going to put history of malignant neoplasm of the lip.
Oh, come on. I got these. Some popped up for me.
So did we find something?
Yes.
What did you put in the search engine first of all?
I put history, malignant neoplasm of lip. And I
Yes.
came up with C85.818.
Did anybody get a different code? Did you get something, Abigail?
I didn't put history in mine, but I got C14.8.
Right, and that is if they currently have that. But what they're saying now is they've had it, they've been treated, they're negative. This is a personal history of malignant neoplasm of the lip. So that history is so important. History of codes are always found in Z codes. So change that to
Oh.
history of.
So we should have typed in history of malignant.
Yes, right. Now, if we take off and it's just a malignant neoplasm of the lip, then we would go into those C codes. But because it's a history, which means they struggled with it before, but they're not currently being treated for it.
This meeting is being recorded.
For some reason on my app, it's not popping up anything when I add the history in front.
I
I
neither.
put
I
just
put history of malignant neoplasm of the lip and nothing pops up.
I didn't put of, I put history, malignant neoplasm of lip.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to leave words out, I think.
Now, I'm just going to say, when we go to the index, and you know how sometimes we have to look at this and we have to go over there and look at that, we're going to have to work it out with anything we use. But I know also if you misspell one thing, it will give you nothing. So it is temperamental, but it's also just a tool for us to have, right?
Right.
It's
So
gonna
yes,
be-
it did come up on mine after I took out the of and the before lip.
Okay, and did it come up with 3 codes for you?
Yes, the Z codes.
Z85.810 personal history of malignant neoplasm of tongue. That's not what we need, right? We're looking for the lip. So if we look, go ahead.
No, I had got Z85 8.8. 0.818. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Z85.818.
Okay. Stacy, whenever you took those out, were you able to see the codes?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've gone on page 1647. I'm looking at these 3 codes. Now 810 is of the tongue, 818 is the lip, oral cavity, and pharynx, and 819 is unspecified site of lip, oral cavity, and pharynx. So let's take a look at Z85.818.
I don't pay you that much right before.
Stacy, me and you were doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I had got. The first one.
Okay, Z85818. It says personal history of malignant neoplasm of other sites of lip, oral cavity, and pharynx. Okay, but we have two choices, it looks like. It looks like we're gonna have a choice of 818 and 819 because both have the lip listed. Again, it's on
Okay.
page 1647. So let's look at 818, personal history of malignant neoplasm of other sites of lip, oral cavity, and pharynx. Personal, and then 819 is personal history of malignant neoplasm of unspecified site of lip, oral cavity, and pharynx. Okay, so again, let me reiterate something. You would never, ever, ever get something like this to code as a real medical scenario, right? You would actually have pages to look at to glean, where the malignant neoplasm is measuring and all these things. This is just a blip. So would you think we would use 818 or 819, doing the best we can out of the scenario we have here?
819.
I'm sorry, Stacy, what did you say?
819.
819. Holly, what did you say?
818.
Okay, Abigail, what do you think?
I'm going back and forth. Just give me 1 second. Let me see.
Okay, absolutely, take your time. I'll tell you what I'm thinking, and I'm not.
819.
Okay, well, right now we're having what's called a coding conversation. We're talking about it as coders, right? And we're going to discuss why we think what we think. So Holly, why do you think it's 818? It's okay if you're going to say, Miss Marcia, that's just what I think. You don't have to get
That's really just what this popped up, and then when I looked at the definition, it kind of matched personal history of malignant neoplasm of the lip.
Okay, well, the only difference in 818 and 819
It
is
has other
site
sites.
and unspecified site of the lip. Does this give us a specific site of the lip?
No.
It doesn't. So that's why I'm leaning toward 819, only because of one word, unspecified. And this doesn't give us any specification, does it?
No.
It gives us virtually nothing. So that's the reason why I would choose 819. Now, if we had more information and it gave us more specifics, I would do 818.
Gotcha.
Because this is not indicating an other side of the lip, the inside of the lip. So that's why I would go with unspecified. But Holly, I'm going to tell you, if you build 818, it would still get paid.
Okay.
819 would probably carry about $10, $20 more than 818, but that you would never upbill to get that money. You know what I mean? You would do the specifics. All right, so let's move on. Admissions for cardiac pacemaker adjustment. Admission for cardiac pacemaker adjustment.
Mom,
Yes.
I think this milk is expired.
Time to go to the grocery store. The milk is expired.
No, baby, it's July. It's good. No, it's isn't for July. Like that? Or you want some more? You see, look, this is how you tell July. Right there.
I know.
You know, then why you ask me?
This milk expired.
Go sit at the table, baby.
All right, has anybody
Sorry.
found anything?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you put in your search engine?
I put the whole thing up from the beginning, admission. Oh, I didn't put 4, sorry. I put admission, cardiac pacemaker adjustment.
Okay, so what ICD-10 code did you come up with?
Just by skimming real quick, I want to say either Z45.018 or Z46.2.
C45. I got to get back over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Stacy, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? So Z45. Oh. So Z45018 on page 1634 says encounter for adjustment and management of other part of cardiac pacemaker. C4502, encounter for adjustment and management.
I think it's Z45.02.
Z45.02, encounter for adjustable and management of automatic implantable cardiac defibrillator.
Listen for a cardiac pacemaker.
Shanice, how you doing, hun?
I'm fine. I think it's Z45.018.
Oh, I think so too, actually.
You think so too? And why? Why did you change your mind, Holly?
Because I'm reading it. I just started reading up through the Z from where I looked on here, and I'm reading up, and this matches more of the words on here.
Right, because Z45.02 is an implantable cardiac defibrillator. We're looking
Exactly.
for a pacemaker.
Pacemaker.
Shanice, that is perfect. That's wonderful. What about you, Abigail? What are you thinking?
Sorry, the kids came in, but based off what I was skimming over, I was saying Z45.018.
What about you, Miss Stacy? Are you on board with that, or do you see a code you like better?
The 018.
You like 018 too? And that's what I have too. All right, let's stop and let's take stock. How are we feeling? Victoria, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling a bit better about it.
How about y'all? I actually
I
see
like
Stacy
that.
smiling a little bit, so I think she feels a little bit better too. Again, we don't have to just use this. We can use our index. We can use the ICD-10data.com. The purpose of me showing you things was not for you to say, well, now I've got to learn how to use something else. No, you don't. You can use your index. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of the time, I'm probably going to use my index. And if I can't find it in my index, I'm gonna pull this up on my phone. I want to give, there is more than one way to skin a cat, is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't want you to be scared. All right. Should we do some more?
Yes.
Yes, this is fun, yeah.
All right. So there are two on this page. Let's do the top one here. It says, oh goodness, pull them. Initial prescription and insertion of subdermal implantable contraceptive. Guys, I have to tell you, me and Miss Stacy the other day, we were ready to hit our heads up against a brick wall because she couldn't find contraceptive earlier, and then I couldn't find it. We were doing another scenario and ran up on contraceptive. I was like, I mean, I was like, I don't even know where that was. So. Here's my notebook. And just to prove you guys, I actually did do these in the index too. I have it written down on my notebook.
I think it's Z30.017.
Oh, you're already there. I haven't even got there yet. I'm still
Me
trying to figure out
too.
what to put in.
It's that told us that. Was that Shanice that gave us that answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now Shanice is the one that says, Miss Marcia, I need extra help. I feel like I'm not getting it. And she's the first one who's getting it. You're fast, girl. Come on. That is wonderful. That is good job, Shanice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I got too.
All right, so while everybody else is searching, y'all go ahead and check your tabular, and I'm gonna
Okay.
let you decide if that's correct, and then we'll talk about it. If somebody gets something different, then we will talk about it.
Oh, it looks like that's right in my book.
Okay, so Holly is in agreement with Shanice. Miss Stacy, let us know if you're in agreement when you decide. I can't see all of
Yeah.
you, and it's driving me crazy. There we go. Now I can see all y'all. Miss Stacy, you're in agreement?
Oh, yeah.
Abigail and Victoria, what do you say?
Z30.49. Is that what you said the first time? I didn't hear what Shawnee said at first.
You got Z what?
30.017.
Oh, okay.
I typed in implantable contraceptive.
It didn't want to come up like that. I just typed up subdermal and then 2 different kinds had popped up.
And see, I couldn't get mine to come up implantable contraceptive. I had to put initial, contraceptive, and counter. So, I mean, you know, I guess, like I said, there's so many different, so many different ways to do it. Z30.017 on page 1629. Mine says encounter for initial prescription of implantable subdermal contraceptive. Is that exactly what we're looking for? It's exactly what we're looking for. So I would agree that that's the correct code. Feel good about that?
Yes.
Oh, Abigail, are you using an app or internet? I just saw your chat, Abigail. Okay.
Oh, at first I was using the internet because I didn't know. I figured you had them download an app, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, waiting for me to see you there. All right, so personal history of cancer of the prostate. When you guys read in a scenario and you see history of, you're automatically going to know you're going to Z codes, right? If you see screening, you know you're going to be going to Z codes.
Yeah, with Sharpie. The only thing that I see that's popping up is Z12.5. I don't know if that's the right one though.
Well, let's take a look.
I got Z85.46.
Okay, what exactly did you type in?
Me?
Mhm.
History of cancer of prostate.
That's
And
what
I
I got.
typed in, yeah, I got that too. I typed in personal history, cancer, prostate, and I got the same thing Victoria got.
I typed in history prostate cancer.
And what code did y'all get?
Z85.46.
Yeah, okay, me too.
See, I'm putting in history prostate cancer and I'm getting nothing.
History, cancer, prostate is what I put.
History, cancer. Maybe I need to, you know what? I probably need to go, there we go. Okay, if you guys are having trouble getting it to find anything, you need to go back, you need to like go home, like X out of where you are, because if you put too many codes in at one time and it starts giving information, I think it gets gummed up. So I pushed in history, cancer, prostate, and I got Z80.42, family history of malignant neoplasm of prostate. Z85.46, personal history of malignant neoplasm of prostate. And then the other one was unspecified genital organs, which I don't think is right. Did everybody get something to pull up for you on your app?
I see it now. The codes was under the ad. That's why I ain't see
Under, yeah, it all has ad Shanice, but at least it's free, right?
it.
Okay. So I have Z85.46. Does everybody have, is that what you guys are thinking?
Yeah, and I looked it up and it says personal history of malignant neoplasm of prostate.
And so that's exactly what our scenario, little blip tells us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's clear our thing out. Go back. Baby in for MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccination. Now stop and think back a while ago. Do you remember the code that we used for encounter immunization? No, that's okay. You don't have to remember this. I just happen
Yeah,
to remember it.
Z23.
So encounter for vaccination is going to be Z23. Now I'm going to tell you, when we start doing CPT coding, that's whenever you're going to use measles, mumps, and rubella, because it's going to tell you what's in the injection. We're just saying that immunization, that's the diagnosis, immunization. The procedure is going to be, it might be intramuscular vaccinations, MMR, and that's where it's going to tell the insurance company the whole story. So we're just telling a little bit of the story. So Z23, do you guys agree with that? Immunization encounter, and again, I did it here. Okay, that's how we feeling.
Good. I like the app a lot.
How do you feel about the app, Shanice?
I like it, but I want to do one from out the book. I don't know how to use the book.
Well, all right. Well, this is all that I prepared. But guess what? I'm just gonna pull up some more. I didn't want to over prepare, so I had in my mind, if we want to do some more, I'm just going to pull up the workbook. Now, do we just want to pull up in like, we don't just have to do Z codes. Let's pull up several different coding spots. Give me 1 second, oh, why is it so slow? There we go. And I'm just going to go to our workbook. I'll go ahead and share so you guys can see what. Let's find some here. Give me 1 moment, please.
I have a question. So the codes changes when it's different symptoms?
I'm sorry,
Because I noticed,
say that one more time.
I said, so the code changes when it's different, like whatever they have or whatever they're going to the doctor for, that's when the code changes. Because I know when you said immunizations is Z23, so that's just going to be the only code that you use?
No,
For that?
that's the only diagnosis code you're going to use. We're
Oh.
only doing, what's the reason for the visit?
Mm-hmm.
And that's diagnosis. Why are you coming to the doctor today? You're coming to the doctor today for a vaccination. But there's going to be other codes. You're going to have procedure codes because they can't just tell you why you're there. They got to tell the insurance company, what did we do when they're there? So DPT codes, which we're going to be getting into soon, is what we did, and diagnosis is why we did it.
Okay.
So let's go to, yeah, I've shared my screen. Let's do this one. A patient with early onset Alzheimer's progresses to combative behavior. So what 2 codes do you think that we're going to need? What do we think? So we have early onset Alzheimer's, right? But we also have progressive combative behavior. So let's start with the Alzheimer's. So we're going to use our manual now because Shanice, I agree with you. We want to get ample practice with everything. So I think our first listed diagnosis should be Alzheimer's, right? So let's go to the A's in our index and look up Alzheimer's. Okay, I found it on 106, but it says Alzheimer's disease or sclerosis. See disease, Alzheimer's. So now we have to go to disease. Disease. My disease starts on 205. Okay, so I need to get my notebook. I get a sticky note. So did you guys find a disease than Alzheimer's?
No.
Look on page 205. When I went to Alzheimer's, it told me to go to disease, Shanice. So then I went to disease. So now I'm on disease on page 205.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've gone down until I see Alzheimer's. Now we know that it's more than just regular Alzheimer's, it's early onset. So it says Alzheimer's with behavioral disturbance, and then it says early onset. Do you see that?
I see it.
So that says G30.0. Now I want to ask you guys, do you guys see the little brackets and it says F02.80? Let's write that down too, just because that's going to be important. It's
You
telling
said
us
it right
that for
down?
some reason. Huh?
I'm sorry, what did you say to write down?
Oh, I'm just writing it down on a sticky note because I can never
Okay.
remember the numbers. I've got to
Okay.
write everything down. I can't, it just is how I work. So I'm going to go to my G's. So G30.0 should be our early onset Alzheimer's.
G30.
Okay, page 807. So it says Alzheimer's disease with onset. Page 807. Do you guys agree with G30.0 as our Alzheimer's code for early onset?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we still have to deal with our combative behavior, right? Remember I had you write down that F02.80. If you look above G30.0, you're going to see your includes, use additional codes, and it says use additional code to identify delirium if applicable, dementia with behavioral disturbance, F02.81, and dementia without behavioral disturbance. Well, because she has behavior, she has combative behavior, is that going to be behavioral disturbance? So let's look at F2.80 and make sure that that is the correct disturbance. On page 774. Okay, Miss Stacy, have you found our second code?
Yeah.
What did you get?
Oh, well, I don't know.
It's
I just
okay.
said, yeah.
So
So you lost me. Why did we go to this F?
because when we looked at our code in the index, it said G30.0, and I pointed out there were brackets beside it that indicated F02.80, which means that code will usually use a second code. So I said, write that code down so we could see where it
Yeah.
fits in. So when we went and found G30.0, we looked at our includes notes and code also, and it gave us that code again for behavioral disturbance. So then we went to the F0280 and F0281. And we have to make a decision on whether we think F02.80 is correct, which was indicated.
So because the G30 said had includes beside it, we had to go look at the F.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I don't think that's right. I think the code is F02.81.
That's what I think.
Okay, and can you tell me why it's 81 instead of 80?
Because when you go down the second one, it say dementia and other diseases classified elsewhere with combative behavior.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you why, also why F02.80 cannot be the correct code, because highlighted in purple, 80 says without behavioral disturbance. And clearly, because this is combative behavior, it has to be with behavioral disturbance. So there was only really one word difference there. One is without behavioral disturbance and one is with behavioral disturbance. So y'all have it right. You were absolutely right. I want you to feel confident when you're reading, okay? Because I was just waiting for somebody to make a decision. So our two codes will be G30.0 and the second code will be F02.81. Y'all give me just 1 second. Let me go ahead and end our recording, and we're going to continue on because I'm about to run out of time on